Welcome and thank you for joining the SEEDS event today. I am Abdulai, your SEEDS program manager. I will be providing technical support for today's event. So if you run into any trouble, please use the chat feature to contact me directly. I will also have a few of my colleagues in the chat as well. At this time, please use the reaction feature to let me know that you can hear me by giving me a thumbs up. Can you all hear me? Thumbs up. Perfect. Okay, so before we get started, I'd like to go over a few housekeeping notes. Today's event is being recorded. Please note that your microphone and your picture was muted by default when you logged in. So however, you can still type in comments in the chat and engage with myself and the presenter. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them during the actual lecture, and then also you can send questions after. Live captioning is enabled in Teams, so you can click the More Actions button, which is the three dots at the top of the screen, then click the language and speech, and then turn on select live captions and then use English to confirm. So again, like I said, I am the technical support for today's event. So if you have any issues, feel free to shoot me a side chat, or you can simply write it in the actual live chat in the actual event. And then finally, at the end, your feedback is very important to me. I enjoy creating SEEDS events. So I ask that you take the survey 1 to 2 minutes and let me know what you thought about today's session and how we can improve the future series. At this time, I would like to introduce our speaker, Ms. Dene Davis, who currently works for the Nashville Regional Office as the Veteran Service Center Manager. Ms. Davis, we're honored that you're here with us today. I'm excited to hear about this presentation. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Nafi. Good afternoon and good morning. As Nafi mentioned, my name is Dene Davis, and I am currently the Veteran Service Center Manager at the Nashville Regional Office. I have been fortunate enough to work with VBA for the past 16 years. I started my career as a rating specialist at the Winston-Salem Regional Office. In 2012, I was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to move to Washington, D.C., where I was a management analyst for 3 years with the Office of Field Operations. After that, I moved to New York City, where I was the Assistant Veteran Service Center Manager, and I lived there for 5 years. And in November of 2020, during a pandemic, I thought, why not? Let's move to a new city where you don't really know anyone and take on a new job. So that in and of itself was an exercise in being resilient, because there were a host of challenges that I didn't even know to expect coming to a new city and a new office and not knowing anyone. Also, I am a graduate of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. So I am a huge Tar Heels fan, go Heels. And I also have my law degree from North Carolina Central University. So that's me. I did see a couple of familiar names join the discussion today. So I look forward to spending the next hour with you guys. I am an interactive presenter. So I know the microphones are muted, but there will be opportunities for you to participate in poll questions. There will be times where I will ask you to use your reaction features to give me a thumbs up or raise your hand. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to Crushing Obstacles and Achieving Goals, Building Workplace Resilience. Resilience is a learnable skill that is vital to both personal and organizational success. There will be an open discussion, and you can talk to me about ways that we can build resilience in the workplace and also achieve personal goals. You will also have the opportunity to reflect and create an action plan that will be beneficial to you guys in the days, weeks, and months to come. When I think of resilience, I think of a famous quote by Maya Angelou. I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it. And what that quote means to me is that life will happen. There will be obstacles, there will be challenges, and those obstacles and challenges will, of course, have an impact on us. However, we have the opportunity to learn resilience and to be resilient. And all that means to me is that we will grow through the adversity and the obstacles. We will bend, but we won't break. So today, we're going to discuss two big topics, resilience and practical strategies. And then we're going to move to setting and achieving goals. At the end, we will have a guest speaker that will join us. Today's course focuses on building resilience in the workplace to help individuals and teams achieve personal and team goals. We're going to learn how to navigate work challenges, stay motivated, and turn those obstacles into opportunities. We'll also touch on a few practical strategies for increasing resilience to boost productivity and well-being, and understanding how resilience leads to both professional and personal growth. At the conclusion of this course, you will be able to understand the importance of resilience in the workplace. You'll learn practical strategies that will help you stay focused and motivated during these challenges. And it will help you set and achieve personal and team goals despite some of these obstacles. The purpose of this session is to learn how to build resilience in the workplace and achieve personal and business goals. Before we move on to the poll, I want you guys to take a few moments to reflect on why resilience might matter in your current role. Okay, so you guys can see we have a poll question up. What is your greatest workplace challenge? Select all that apply. I know personally 2, 3, maybe even 4 of them apply to my current environment. So we'll give you guys a couple of seconds to respond to that poll.
And while the responses are coming in, Dene, I can see a few of them. So looks like it's a tie between, well, almost a tie between unclear goals. Burnout is also one, top one, and then workload as well. And then there's a few, there's an 8% that says nothing, I am happy. I'm sure most people are happy after yesterday's news. So yeah, okay, so the top one looks like unclear goals.
I understand, I get that. I would say, or at least I tell my team, when everything is a priority, what is the priority? So that is absolutely a challenge. And hopefully, as we work through today, we'll give you some tools and some strategies that will help you still be able to achieve in spite of maybe not having a clear direction or being overloaded with hot taskers. I saw somebody put that into the chat. So take all of the goodness that we're going to talk about today and really think about how you can apply some of these strategies to help reduce some of those workplace challenges and build resilience. So we keep saying resilience, but what actually is resilience? So an article from Positive Psychology tells us the definition of resilience. It's the ability to adapt, recover, and thrive in the face of work-related stress and changes. Some of those potentially unclear goals or hot taskers, or even maybe conflict that we are having with some of our peers. Building resilience in the workplace involves developing adaptability, maintaining a positive mindset, and effectively managing stress. Open communication, support systems, and continuous learning fosters a resilient work environment. Cultivating resilience leads to improved well-being, enhanced productivity, and the ability to navigate challenges with confidence. Oprah Winfrey once said, "What I know for sure is that there is no strength without challenge, adversity, resistance, and often pain." When we are resilient, we're not just surviving, but we're growing stronger, and dare I even say thriving, because that is what resilience teaches us, to move through those hard times and those obstacles, to come out stronger and better on the other side. So why does resilience matter at work? In December of this past year, the Nashville regional office, we suffered a significant loss. Our director unexpectedly passed away, and that was without a doubt the hardest thing I have ever encountered professionally. Because Mr. Moore was not just the regional office director, but he was a mentor, and I also considered him to be a friend. So how does one bounce back from such an unexpected and devastating loss? And I will only speak for myself, but it was hard. And some days bouncing back looks like showing up and just taking one step forward to do something that you did not do the day before. And in my mind, I heard Mr. Moore say, "Dene, you have to do this. You can do this, because what we do is bigger than just one person." So how did I cope? I process things through working out. So I logged a lot of miles in the days, weeks, and even still now, after that tragedy. I leaned on my support system, my friends, my family, my colleagues. And I was very honest with myself, with my team, on the days that were hard, that I only have so much to give. And collectively, we all joined together to move forward. It still to this day blows my mind that on that day, that when we learned that Mr. Moore had passed away, and we were telling our team that everybody really did band together to support each other to move forward. And it just shows the strength of humans, that in times of stress, we can be the greatest support to each other and move forward and achieve our goals. Achieving our daily goal was the absolute last thing on my mind that day. I'm going to be honest, it was survive the day. And the team, all of us together, probably hearing Mr. Moore in the background saying, "This is the best way to honor me, to honor veterans, to show up and do the hard things, feel the pain, the sadness, the grief, but keep moving forward, keep showing up, because we still have a job to do." Whatever that job may look like, whatever your personal challenge may be, at the end of the day, we still have to show up. And showing up looks differently every day, but give 100% of what you have that day to move. So all that to say, resilience is the process of being able to adapt well and bounce back quickly in times of stress. The stress may manifest in a variety of ways. It could be family or relationship problems, serious health problems, financial problems. But developing resiliency can help you cope adaptively and bounce back after challenges, changes, setbacks, disappointments. Research has shown that resiliency is common. People tend to demonstrate it more often than you think. One example that comes to mind is how Americans bounced back and responded after the terrorist attacks on September 11th, or even COVID, and how individuals had to rebuild their lives. Demonstrating resiliency doesn't necessarily mean that you've not suffered a difficult situation or been in distress. It also doesn't mean that you haven't experienced emotional pain. The road to resilience is often paved with those very things, with emotional stress and strain. If you think back to the quote I shared at the beginning of our lesson from Maya Angelou, you will be changed by the things that happen to you, but you don't have to let it reduce you. And so that's what it is. We don't have to shrink or be in a negative space because something bad happened. We can move forward in a positive way. And the good news is that resilience can be learned. It involves developing thoughts, behaviors, and actions that allow you to recover from that traumatic or stressful life event. At work, being resilient, it increases productivity and performance. It reduces burnout and absenteeism, and it also can enhance problem solving and adaptability. So some of those points that you guys mentioned earlier, we do have broad categories on the slide. These are some of the common workplace challenges that we're facing. You know, by a show of hands, who responded with heavy workloads and deadlines? That is a challenge that we face. I'll raise my hand because I know it to be true. Okay, there we go. I see those hands coming up, and yes. Organizational change. I think that has been one of the biggest workplace challenges that we've encountered in the recent past. The return to office, that is an organizational change. We moved from a time during COVID, which was by necessity, to having to return to the office 5 days a week. And that is a shift that can put a lot of strain on an individual. That is an obstacle. But again, it's also a part of a challenge that will lead to professional growth. Has it been challenging? Has it been difficult? I'm sure. We all have, personal lives that needed to adjust to that change. But there's also been some positives and some growth and benefits for it. And that's, again, being resilient, going through it and coming out better and stronger on the other side. Can any of you identify one of the challenges that you have experienced? You can just throw it in the chat. Okay. I'll give you guys, okay, changing jobs. Absolutely. That is a challenge. That is something that, leaving what may have been comfortable to transition to something unknown. I experienced it when I was going over my background. You guys heard I've bounced around a couple of times, so that is absolutely a challenge.
And there's some more in the chat, Dene. Office temperature, which I can concur with. Didn't realize how cold it was until I got back. Shift in priorities, lack of clarity, information from leadership, management change, retiring from the military, a lot of work environment changes, becoming a supervisor, learning all the new applications that come out, especially like with the new Teams update, if you all haven't had that yet. So just a lot of similar things in the previous slide about just adjusting to all the changes, whether it's at home or at work.
Absolutely. And hearing those, and thank you, Nafi, for summarizing that. It shows us that we're all pretty connected in some of these things that we do. These are shared challenges. And when we get to it, some of the coping mechanisms and strategies is to find your tribe, your people, your support system. So people that are going through the same thing might be a great way to find a way through it. Like, what's worked for you? Well, this has worked for me. And there may be a collective theme or action that you can do to help you learn resilience and keep moving forward. Carol Dweck, she is an American psychologist, and most of her work has focused on motivation and mindset. If you have ever heard of a fixed mindset or a growth mindset, then you've heard of Carol's work. And she says that from a fixed mindset, the ability is seen as innate or permanent. Some people are intelligent, some people are creative, others are not intelligent or not creative or less so. However, from a growth mindset, the ability develops incrementally over time. So with appropriate opportunities to learn, intelligence develops. So a growth mindset is one that helps us view challenges as opportunities to learn and improve. When I transitioned from being an employee at the Winston-Salem Regional Office to an MA in DC, I wasn't really sure what I was going to be walking into. I did not have an MA background. I could do basic things in Excel. But one thing that I did have was that growth mindset saying, okay, well, maybe I can't, but I can learn. I can figure it out. And that is the difference. A growth mindset is the belief that with practice, with perseverance and effort, we can learn and we can grow. So again, remember, we're going to replace the I can't with I can learn. Just for resilience. You may not feel resilience when everything is being thrown at you, but it's a learned skill. You can learn it and you can use some of the techniques that we're going to talk about today to help you build resilience and move forward.
I took control, went solo, and built my own online knife empire.
We always talk about being a stable company, and we talk about investing in stable companies, and are you stable? And you think about stability. Stability is an immobile object, and so companies that are built for stability, yes, they're able to weather storms, but they don't come out stronger or better. They just come out. They get through. Building a company for resilience means that you go into darkness, but you're actually able to adapt for new times, new technologies, new cultures, new politics, new tastes, and you come actually out of the hard times stronger than you went in. Victorinox is a great example. Victorinox, many of us know them by their signature product, which is the old Swiss Army knife. And this company basically made a name for themselves on this basically one line of product. And they had other product, but this was the core. And then something happened that they couldn't predict, nor could they prepare for, which is September 11th happened. And overnight, we were banned from taking their product in our bags, in our hand luggage or in our pockets. And so many of us used to carry a Swiss Army knife in our pockets or just throw one in our hand luggage. Like we all had one. Every birthday for every teenager, they got at least one, right? Every corporate gift, you had a couple of Swiss Army knives. And now we were banned from carrying them, which means you're less likely to buy one to give as a gift. And so their business plummeted overnight through no fault of their own, through no market conditions, nothing predictable. But the genius of Victorinox is that they were built for resilience. And what they did was in good times, instead of giving away all the money in big bonuses, in good times, they actually saved a ton of money. And their attitude was, good times don't last, but neither do bad times. And if we want to get through bad times, we need cash. And so instead of panicking and taking loans or whatever it is, they had their own stack of cash that they'd been hoarding. So they had a little financial resilience. But then they looked at other products and they asked their people to help build up. And they started investing heavily in watches. Now we have Victorinox watches, which are much more, and it's still Swiss made, everything that they could do, everything that they knew how to do, clothing, everything, they leveraged their brand heavily and they built it back up. Also, they protected all of their people. They actually made deals with companies prior that if bad times ever happened, that other companies would borrow their employees, which I thought was genius. So they didn't lose their jobs, they just did their jobs somewhere else. And they completely reinvented their company. Now, to this day, their Swiss Army knife never really recovered. It came up back a bit, but it's now not the major product. It's a minor product that they sell because they actually came out stronger and reinvented. And to be able to do that, think about that. Coming in as one kind of company and coming out of as another kind of company, very, very rare and very, very special, but very infinite-minded.
So a couple of big takeaways from that clip. There's a difference between stability and resilience. Stability, you just make it through. But resilience, you come out on the other side, and hopefully you are better for it. Just like the Swiss Army knife, they had to transition and move forward, and they ended up developing watches. The other thing, hard times don't last. Eventually we will come out on the other side, but they had a plan. They were saving all this money so that they could use something. And so we're going to build up our toolkit for resilience so that when hard times happen, we'll have resources that we can use to help us move forward. So I want you guys to take a few moments and think of a time when you bounced back from a tough situation. What helped you stay resilient in that moment or in that situation? And so as you guys start typing, I will share another instance of when I had to bounce back from a tough situation. How many of us have applied for a job and we knew it was ours? We were the best person, the right person for the job, and yet we weren't selected. Me, I'm sure it's happened to a large number of us that are, on the call today. So how did you bounce back? How did you stay resilient? I did a couple of things. I mentioned I like to work out. It helps. It's a coping mechanism for me. So I worked out a lot. I also relied on my tribe, my support system, my family, my friends, and also people at work. I asked for feedback, and then I put some of that into action. And so I could be better from this experience. And if the opportunity were to present itself again, I would be better prepared, maybe a better candidate. But I was resilient because I was faced with a obstacle, a challenge. I was heartbroken, but I made tangible steps towards improving, and I came out on the other side.
I will say a lot of people agree with you, Dene. A lot of people said faith, friends, family, focusing on the future. So yeah, I think a lot of people agree with you, and I can agree with you too. I know what it feels like to think you got something in the bag and then you realize, oh, there are other candidates that are better than you. So, you just have to, like you said, kind of reflect and refocus. And sometimes you got to recharge, and sometimes it's just not your time.
Yes.
I had to realize that as well. So yeah, but a lot of people agree with you. Patience, gratitude. I agree with that statement by Nicole. So yeah, absolutely.
And all of the things that you guys mentioned in the chat, faith, refocusing, doing things that bring you joy, these are all things that we can control, that are within our circle of control. We can take steps to bring about results. And so that is going to bring us to Stephen Covey's circles of control. How many of you have heard of Mr. Covey? He is an American author, educator, speaker, businessman. He's probably the most well-known for his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And in that, he focuses on the concept of understanding 3 circles, really. Your circle of concern, your circle of influence, and then your circle of control. So as you can see on the slide, the circle of concern, that is the biggest circle. It encompasses a wide array of things that we care about or that impact us. It can be personal health. It can be global issues like climate change. It could be political unrest. But the thing is, those are the things that we can't control. And this circle often leads to feelings of stress and anxiety as we dwell on the things that are beyond our immediate influence. But if you move in a little, you start to see the circle of influence. And this comprises of the aspects that we can directly impact through our choices. By focusing our energy here, we can affect positive change and exert control over certain aspects of our life. And then moving in a little bit more, so it's smaller, it's the circle of control. This is the innermost circle that represents things that are entirely within our grasp. These are the areas where we have the direct power to make decisions and act, leading to a sense of empowerment and efficacy. What are some of the things that you can control? If you go ahead and just put those into the chat, we will move on to aligning personal and organizational goals. Hey, yes, my choices, my reaction, your actions, how you respond, my attitude, absolutely. Those are all the things that you have direct control over. Or if you're trying to take control of your health, go out and walk, run, do whatever it is that you like, but that is a power within yourself that you can make direct impact on, and it's wholly within your circle of control. The Forbes Coaches Council 2023 theme is how purpose fuels persistence, and it highlights the importance of its ability to drive perseverance in both personal and professional journeys. So basically, the purpose is why. Why are you doing the things that you are doing? What is the why behind our actions? I know I am much more focused and driven towards a goal if I know the why behind what we're doing. I believe we are one of the most fortunate federal agencies. Our why is pretty clear, big picture. We may have our individual add-ons to it, but our why is we're here to serve veterans. We're here to take care of veterans. Our why drives our purpose for basically everything that we do as an agency. So what are some of the steps to increasing your level of persistence? Like I said, clarify your why. Identify the deep purpose behind your goal, and your why will help you push through during challenging times. I would recommend writing it out in detail so you'll have this as you move forward. Map out the possibilities. We all know there's more than one way to accomplish a goal. So map out all the ways in which you can reach your goal. So that way, if one way isn't working, you can quickly adjust. And then the last thing, take action. Nothing can ever be created without measurable action. Sometimes we just have to get started and adjust along the way. I know my team has heard me say it a million times. Sometimes we are building the plane as we're flying, and sometimes it's that way. And you just have to be able to move forward and adjust accordingly. That's why you have to map out those possibilities. All right, guys, I need you to use the thumbs up feature if you own a Netflix account, or no judgment if you're using your friend's Netflix account. Yep, everybody, absolutely. There should not be one person that's not using Netflix. So Netflix product vision began as a simple goal to get big on DVD. I don't know if y'all remember this, but when Netflix started, you used to receive DVDs in the mail, and it came like a little red envelope. Yep, it's been a minute, I know. But then the company's vision evolved, and it became a leader in the streaming market. Going digital enabled Netflix to expand worldwide, and having achieved all of the above, Netflix is currently placing a strong focus on original content. In 2020, Netflix wasn't the biggest streaming service for nothing. It was very hard for any other service to compete with the product that Netflix had. So Netflix is a trusted brand. We all know it. We use it. It keeps our details private. Their brand promise is movie enjoyment made easy. I mean, I probably use Netflix daily. And they achieve this by providing their viewers with personalized service and the freedom to watch on almost any device that is connected to the internet. So come a few of the resilient factors that Netflix has was vision, right? They started with mailing DVDs, but they wanted to be bigger and reach more people. So they had to be flexible and they pivoted and went to streaming so anybody with internet could use their service. So how does this relate into team resilience? The leader's role in team resilience is to, well, one, the leader is accountable for everything that happens, the good, the bad, the ugly. Leaders are responsible for the achievements and the things that maybe we failed to achieve. But they're also responsible for modeling a psychologically safe culture within their organization and creating trusting teams. Team resilience is the collective ability to adapt. And we see this almost every day in the VA with maybe changing priorities or some of those unclear goals that you guys mentioned. Team resilience is our ability to adapt to those changing goals and priorities and still produce and get the job done, regardless of what the ask may be. There are 3 ways that leaders build team resilience: open communication, a shared purpose, team rituals. If you are a fan of Simon Sinek, he has a great short clip on psychological safety as it relates to the leader's responsibility. So we're going to spend a few moments talking about how to build resilient teams. You guys identified some of the most common workplace challenges and even spoke about ones that were personal to you. So we can anticipate that we will have challenges and stressors at work. But to develop resilience in team members, checklists and guides are a helpful way to provide employees with a resource that they can turn to when they're dealing with a challenge or uncertainty. The resource can be a go-to guide. It may include tips for troubleshooting or guidelines for escalation if necessary, and maybe some key questions to consider during difficult situations. If you can, a good idea would be to reduce it to writing and create a standard operating procedure for the workplace. Training is also a way to develop a resilient team. It's important because training helps team members develop a sense of group understanding. It promotes cohesion of the team and also provides and promotes a positive team coordination. Debriefing and feedback sessions is another way to build a resilient team. Anytime you have a big project and maybe it doesn't go exactly the way that you would have liked, debrief and have a feedback session so you can identify some of the challenges and encourage reflection about the experience. It's also helpful sometimes to have these debriefing and feedback sessions when it is a long-term or a series of events that can just be draining and depleting on teams. It doesn't always have to be one big project or event that did not turn out exactly how you would have liked. I know one thing that we do as an agency, specifically in HCS, are the listening sessions and the lift sessions. So you get that direct feedback on how things are going, whether it's good, whether it's bad, but that helps provide resiliency. And then also work culture. The culture of a team is key to promoting resilience. This forms the basis for team resilience. It is the responsibility of team leaders, supervisors, to create the right atmosphere for his or her team. They can facilitate the development of a positive work culture by constantly demonstrating certain behaviors that reinforce the behaviors that we want to see in employees. So a culture of resilience includes team members being encouraged to speak up and ask questions, maintaining composure during emergency situations and times of heightened stress, and then also openly sharing bad news and also reporting those early warning signs of potential problems. So, and now we will hear from our guest speaker. So I'm gonna give you guys a break. Miss Allison Weber is a work-life wellness specialist and VBA's Employee Whole Health Program Manager with the Work-Life Wellness and Employee Experience Division in the Office of Human Capital Services. Ms. Weber, I'll turn it over to you, ma'am.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Davis. As Ms. Davis mentioned, work-life wellness specialist. I'm in the WE division where we focus particularly on employee wellness and trying to mitigate burnout for employees. Next slide, please. So as Ms. Davis stated earlier, our purpose is the why behind all of our actions. And connecting what we do in the workplace to our personal values helps us to stay motivated and persevere when we're faced with challenges and setbacks. And we all know that work and life are not mutually exclusive. So what happens at home affects us in the workplace, and stress that happens at work, we end up taking home sometimes. So it's really vital to prioritize your wellness by investing in self-care strategies that can fuel you through the day. And cultivating your overall well-being is protective against stressors and challenges, again. Based on Covey's circles of control, in addition to our thoughts and our responses to other people, our self-care behaviors are within our power to affect. And setting wellness goals is a proactive way to help you improve your well-being while growing resilience. And we'll talk about this in a moment. Next slide, please. All right, so I'm sure you've heard of whole health. It's a holistic model of employee wellness that is designed to view the whole person. It came from Veterans Health Administration in an effort to try to improve their service delivery model to veterans and focus a little bit more on health prevention, disease prevention, health promotion, and empower employees to kind of focus on their own wellness through some of these structured wellness goals setting. So all aspects of our lives make up our wellness, our experience in the workplace, our relationships, what we eat and drink, how much sleep we get, our physical surroundings, our environment. These all make up our overall wellness. And so whole health empowers us to sort of take charge of our health and personal wellness by recognizing that our physical, our mental, emotional health is all heavily impacted by the choices that we make on a daily basis in all aspects of our lives. And by reflecting on all aspects of our wellness, all of these different areas, whole health helps us identify where we may experience challenges, where maybe you're feeling less well. For example, if you don't get enough sleep at night, maybe that's an area of wellness that you would focus on. That would then impact the rest of the whole health areas. If you don't get enough sleep, you probably are struggling more during the day. Maybe you're feeling a little bit more irritable or short with people in your life. So looking at these different aspects can sort of help us identify where we could put some energy. And in the model, we look at what is referred to as our MAP, and that's our mission, aspiration, and purpose. Your purpose guides your behaviors and helps you prioritize where you want to spend your valuable time and energy. And identifying what it is that you care the most about, what matters the most to you, can help you align all of the decisions that you make on the daily that affect your wellness, and aligning those with what you really care about. And this can help us stay focused on our goals when we sometimes struggle to stay motivated. Next slide, please. So reflecting on the different aspects of our wellness or taking a personal inventory of your health is a really great way to begin establishing wellness goals that help you develop resilience in a practical way. And identifying where you are right now in your path to wellness and where you would eventually like to be. For example, what your sleep quality is like right now and how much sleep you would eventually like to be getting. That helps us sort of narrow our focus, and then from there, develop some actionable steps that can move us incrementally forward. And this tool is designed to guide you through an exploration of the different health domains that you saw on the circle of health to identify where you may want to focus more Sleep, I've heard about that concept. Yeah. This is a helpful assessment for informing the development of your personal action plan. You may determine after going through the different domains of your life that a big source of stress for you is that maybe you're not getting enough physical activity. You're not moving your body as much as you would like to. And sometimes that can feel really good. Ms. Davis mentioned exercise earlier. Sometimes that's just hard to incorporate into our routine if it's a brand new habit. If you would like to spend a little bit more time discussing the personal health inventory, then I'd encourage you to join the upcoming Seeds Inner session that will be on July 22nd. All right, next slide, please. Okay, and I just want to provide you with a few resources for cultivating your wellness a bit. These are available to VBA employees. The hashtag Live Whole Health video series has 250 plus videos on guided meditations, chair yoga, lots of other ways to practice wellness on your own. The Work-Life Wellness and Employee Experience Division has a SharePoint page specifically about employee whole health with different resources, including events that we have coming up, recurring classes that VBA employees can access, like weekly dance parties you can join on your break, or like little mini yoga sessions, meditation. We also have a Microsoft Teams channel where we post weekly wellness tips and reminders about upcoming webinars that you can join. And then if you would just like to learn more about whole health in general, you can check out VA's Whole Health homepage, and that's listed for you there. And that is all I have. So I'll pass it back to you, Ms. Davis. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Weber, for joining us and providing us with some of those useful methods in taking care of ourselves so that we can continue to show up and for the people and the things that we love. So, you guys, Nafi put in the chat a handout for you guys. So I want to make sure that you guys have access to it, because it would not be a seeds program if there was not some homework. I believe there will be 3 intersessions that deal with this topic. So here is your homework assignment, even if you are unable to join us for one of the intersessions. Remember when I started, I said we were going to reflect and create an action plan. Well, here we are. Here's the time. We're going to create an action plan. So the action plan, identify your challenge. Maybe list your top 3 stressors. Identify your strategy. What are some of your current coping tools or mechanisms that help you deal with the stress in your life? Who can help you during this time? I talk a lot about having my tribe and my support system, and I promise you, regardless of where you are in your current career with VBA, you will always and forever have a tribe and a support system. Find those people, hold on to those people, because they will help you as you navigate your career, the good, the bad, personally and professionally. Also, what's one goal? Identify one goal and some tangible steps that you can take towards that goal, and what will be your success indicator. Remember, one of the things that we talked about, finding your why, mapping out all the possibilities, and then lastly, take action. So, and then just to bring it all home, remember, resilience is learnable, and it is vital for both personal and organizational success. Mindset and self-care matter. Continue to work towards a growth mindset. Leaders, set the tone for our teams and how our teams will be resilient. And also, aligning goals will help increase motivation. I just want to thank you for spending some time with me today, and I will turn it back over to Nafi.
Wow, wow, wow. That was amazing. Let's give Ms. Davis and Ms. Weber, both a round of applause, please. Show them some love in the chat. Again, thank you, Ms. Davis. Thank you, Ms. Weber, for this excellent presentation that you all provided. At this time, feel free to drop any questions in the chat and I will send them towards our presenters to respond. Just so you all know, like they mentioned, we have 3 intercessions, 3, and I have 3 great speakers, one who's in here now, who you'll see again. So again, feel free after today, once you get credit for today's session, you'll get that credit, and then you can go ahead and register for one of the intercessions. Again, if you're a non-supervisor, the first 2 sessions will be the same information. So if you feel like you want to come to both, feel free. But I do encourage you to only attend if you can, so that way we can have seats available for other people. If you run into any issues with registering for intercessions, again, I am your key person and I will be happy to get you seated in any of these courses. My colleague has dropped the evaluation in the chat, so please, if you can, take a moment, fill out that survey, let us know what you thought about today's session and how we can continue to improve. Looks like I'm gonna give you back 9 minutes of your time, which is pretty good, I would say. So again, thank you all for attending today's session. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care and be safe.